everyone, it's Nicole Hanna from Nicole Hanna Jewelry and YouTube's Go Art Yourself. And today, as requested, I am going to show you how I tuck wire ends. Now, unfortunately, there's just no hard and fast rule because how you do it depends almost entirely on the project that you're working on. But I'm going to demonstrate it here on this piece that I'm currently working on, little dream catcher. So I have these 6 wire ends that I'm going to need to secure. And so I'm going to start with the inner one first. It's just easier to get it where I need it to go. So what I'm going to do, and the shorter the tail, I like to use my pliers to help navigate a little bit. It keeps me from really bending the weave out of shape. So when I tuck wire ends, I need to find something to wrap it around. Something secure, preferably something small, because a larger surface, the wires just don't grip as well. So if there's a single wire or even a set of 2 wires that I can wrap it around, that would help secure it. And obviously I don't want it to be seen from the front. So in this case, there's a wire running through the center of the bead. I'm not sure if you can really see that in this video, but there's a wire securing the bead to the piece, and so I'm going to wrap this around that bead wire. So I'm just going to stick it over the bead a little bit, bring it through where I can grip it, and then I'm just pulling it around. Make sure that everything is positioned where I want it, so I adjust before I trim any wires off. So then I'll flip it over, and I don't need big long tails. I need just enough wire left to wrap completely around that bead wire. So I'm going to trim any excess. And then I'm going to use my pliers. These are needle chain nose pliers. I highly recommend them. They make wrapping wire ends immensely easier because this can get places that your fingers can't go. This is probably actually a little too long. Excuse the noise, that's my cat chewing on a box. So I'm going to grip them and then twist them around that center wire. Let's see if I can get this a little, there we go. So I got it right around that center wire, and then I'm going to pinch it closed. See, this one didn't wrap all the way, the bottom one. So I'm going to try to grip that and twist it. There we go, nice and tight. And then you just pinch it closed around that wire. And then you can barely even tell that there's anything there. So now, however, I still have 4 more wires that I need to wrap. Now I can't use that same, I could. Let me say this, I shouldn't use that same wire because it's already being occupied. So now, if I try to secure this one to the same wire, I'm wrapping around an even larger surface, which will make the wrap less secure. And because there's no room for this in there, it's going to overlap over this one. It's going to cause the wires to overlap, which I don't want. I want them to lay nice and even next to each other, or even with a little space in between them, just for some dimension. So what I'm going to do is we have this single wire. It's partially hidden behind the 2 wire weave here. So it's not going to be seen from the front, which is the important part. So I'm going to take my pliers and I'm just going to lift it away from the other weave so that I have room to maneuver these wires behind it. And then I just run my wire ends right through it, just like that. Before I secure anything, I'm going to flip it back to the front and make sure everything is where I want it positioned. And that looks pretty good to me, so I'm gonna wrap it around the wire like that. There you go. And then I'm going to trim the excess, leaving just enough to grip that single wire. That's actually even, I don't know if you can see that, that's actually even more than I need. So I'm going to trim a little more off of these wires. And I'm going to use my pliers to pinch them closed, and I'm going to make sure it's really gripping that wire. Get this last one here. There we go. Now I can't feel any wire ends. There's no pokey bits. It's always important to run your hands along the back of the piece and make sure that you can't really feel any wires sticking out. And that's it. That's a finished piece. Now I've got a couple other pieces here that I've already finished. I'm going to show you like options for securing wire ends. So in this case, we have these weaves passing over the front of the piece, and so I just wrapped it around this large frame wire. And same steps, I just use my plier and I turn it to really get that wire gripping. So you can't just pinch, you have to really make sure it's wrapped around it first, and then you can pinch it. But just like this, and for something on a wider surface like this, you can use flat nose pliers. You can use a regular pair of chain nose pliers. It doesn't have to be needle nose. But when you're getting it around a single wire or a much smaller surface, then I would suggest these. They work magic. But in this case, you just grip it and turn it with any set of pliers that you have. And on this piece, this is the front, and we have these weaves here, which connects to this loop here, and then they come out of the loop and then wrap around the front. So they're secured around the large frame wire, just like in the piece I showed you previously. But then we have a couple other smaller weaves coming out of this way, and I needed somewhere to secure those. So I actually used one of the wires, one of the weaves coming up out of that loop in the frame. See how they connect here. And did the same thing. You just use your pliers and pinch and turn. And sometimes you can just grab the end of the wire and turn your hand like this to secure and get the motion nice and secure. But that's how I do it. And like I said, this isn't going to work in every case because it really depends on the type of project that you're doing. Some projects aren't going to allow for this type of thing, so that's usually when you just got to get creative and figure out a way to make it happen. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If nothing else, at least this, I know there's been a lot of questions about how you handle so many wire ends on woven projects where there's sometimes as many as 12, even more, wire ends kind of sticking out all over the place. And the key is always just to find a smaller surface area, single wire preferably, or a smaller weave like this little two wire weave, something along those lines that you can wrap your wire ends around and really secure them. I've got a couple secured around the frame here. So It's really just going to depend on your project that you're doing. I will say that it's easier to secure wire ends where there's beads, because there's always going to be a wire coming out on either side of those beads. So there's always an option to secure wire ends around that wire, and then you can hide it with other weaves so that it can't be seen from the front. So that's what I have for you today. If you have any questions at all about securing wire ends, assuming I can help you, because it does depend on the project, let me know in the comments below. And if you have any other suggestions for videos in the future, also let me know. I'm always happy to take requests and see what I can help show you guys. I know this wasn't very a very detailed video, just a little quick tip about using the needle nose pliers. And I will see you again next time. Thanks for watching.